There's Russell Wilson. Is he better than Drew Lock, Mike Golic Jr.? Is he better than Brock Osweiler, Brandon Newman? Is he better? Dynamic duo is here. Good to see you guys. So, hey, Brandon, let's just start with you, man. Like, when you look at the Broncos, Jim Trotter's saying they should be contenders with Russell Wilson. When you look at the Broncos, what did you think and what did you see?
I think it's a perfect example of a team that looks great on paper. And once you get the logistics planned out and you have to play the game, they don't have a lot of things that they can lean on. And we thought we could lean on Russell Wilson. In this league, engines used to be the quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are the engines of the team, right? But nowadays, it's everybody, all the other things that are going right. And the Broncos have it with the defense. I think the Broncos' weakest link is Russell Wilson. I don't know if there's a bunch of quarterbacks out there that you can fix it, but now he's got all that Walmart money, I don't think you can walk this thing back. But Russell Wilson is the issue for this offense right now. And I think you can blame the head coach and all these other things, but we've seen quarterbacks outplay all those different variables plenty of times in this league, and Russell Wilson's not doing it.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, listen. Yeah, Russ, listen, based off where a lot of people, myself included, place Russ in the quarterback hierarchy, we probably overstated a little bit of what he's capable of, right? He's not in that Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson tier of guys that are going to go out and affect the game differently and elevate you beyond circumstances, maybe at this point. And maybe we owe Pete Carroll a little more of apology in the past. Now, Michael, going back to your original prompt here, yeah, he's better than every one of those other quarterbacks the Broncos have had since Peyton Manning was there. Full stop. The one thing that I think is big in all this is obviously you've seen the dip in production this year, but now we're seeing the injury stuff pile up, and that used to be the superpower for Russell Wilson, right? He was always on the field. He was one of the more durable quarterbacks in the league year in and year out. And so if you're not even getting the benefit off that right now, the return on investment continues to sour pretty early here for Denver, who does have other problems on offense, and the head coach is certainly a part of that. But when the things that you came and thought you were going to be able to count on with Russell Wilson aren't there, the house of cards falls apart pretty quick.
Look, I'll say this, Michael, too, and I said it to you a moment ago. To me, this is an example also of a franchise not doing a good job in terms of its scouting. When we get young quarterbacks who come into the league often and they fail, we put it on the player and we say he's a bust or he's this or he's that, and we fail to recognize that he was put into a system maybe that doesn't accentuate his skill set. The reality here is that Russell Wilson's skill set does not match up with Nathaniel Hackett's vision of what he wanted to run offensively. But yet they must have thought that they could drop Russell in and that he could fit into what Nathaniel Hackett wants to do in terms of a timing offense. So something's going to have to give here. Either Nathaniel Hackett is going to say, you know what, I got to let Russ cook in a way that Russ is best at cooking, or else this thing is not going to get better, and that's just it. And again, if you go back to last night's game, he was at his best when he was off script, when he was outside the pocket, those sorts of things. So unless they make that change, I don't see it getting any better.
Well, and the tough part with that is, too, letting him do all those things doesn't really work. Like, we're going to very quickly do what we did with Baker Mayfield last year and just forget that he's going into these games very hurt. You saw him on the sideline with the ice pack, like, what, a partially torn lat, what he's dealing with? Like, this is a quarterback. Throwing in rotation in that area of your body matter a lot. For this guy creating after the play, this hamstring and whatever the results of the imaging are matter a lot. And I mean, hell, we did it with Dustin Hopkins last night, where we're just like, yeah, sure, go out and kick your own nose, hit these 4 field goals with a hamstring that's falling apart, and we're just going to expect you to do that because that's how this league operates. I get it, but with Russ, all the stuff that you may get good stuff out of seems to be getting banged up right now physically in a way that if he's out there, we'll certainly forget, but is no doubt going to factor into those things just maybe not being possible, especially to the let's Russ cook factor of this.
Okay, but let's go to the Russ Let's Ride part of this, where we're talking about him as a personality and as a leader on this football team, right? Because there's so many different things. There's so many variables about Russell Wilson that we got a chance to ignore because he was producing on the field, right? Now that this team is trying to be led by Russell Wilson, I have a little bit of concern of how he can rally the troops and get everyone to push towards a playoff push when I don't really, I mean, you see the memes and the things going on in the sidelines there. I don't know if those guys on the team think of Russell Wilson as the savior the way he was supposed to be when he got signed to that franchise.
See, here we go.
I agree
here
with
we
that.
go.
No, I agree with that 1,000%.
So now, see, like, you know, this is just like, it's like Russell Wilson is just he's a convenient scapegoat for everything that's wrong. Now, you just said, hey, this timing offense of Nathaniel Hackett's timing offense doesn't really connect with what Russell Wilson's skill set is. Now, it's too easy for me to say, how does Nathaniel Hackett know what he wants to run when he's never run anything? That's too easy. I won't go there. But I will say this. I just can't stand these guys. I can't stand them. I will say, why didn't they go out? Why was he their best option? Like, if you look at, you guys know how important coaching is in the league. Yes, Wilson has his problems. He's got his problems, but he does have a track record of winning, of going to Super Bowls, of winning a Super Bowl, of being a winning player.
Stop. Stop.
He doesn't?
He doesn't. They didn't win that Super Bowl because of Russell Wilson, and they didn't go necessarily because of Russell Wilson.
Guy can't win with you. He can't win, Trotter. Okay, so they didn't win. They didn't win because of him. And now,
dude, don't insult that defense like that.
Now when the team,
don't insult that defense like that.
Okay, now the team is struggling. And so they're losing solely because of him. So he's the reason they lose, but he gets no credit for winning.
No. And I want to defer to our guest. I'm not saying they're losing solely because of Russell Wilson, but I am saying the quarterback, as we continue to say, is the most important player on the field. And if he is not playing well, obviously he should be under the mic.
Unless it's the Legion of Boom.
I think
but when it's the Legion of Boom, it's the defense.
Context matters in all of these things, though, because to Jim's point here,
thank you, sir.
You look around what's happened recently in the way that we judge quarterbacks. This happens to Kirk Cousins in Minnesota all the time. When you're brought there to be the difference, to get them to the place they couldn't go, and you can't do that, you're going to be judged by that metric and very little else. Kirk Cousins can go out and be as statistically efficient as he wants, as productive in the regular season as he wants, but if he continues to fall short in big moments in the playoffs, he's going to be judged accordingly. That's also a money thing. Matthew Stafford was brought out to Los Angeles to be the difference. Jared Goff was looked at as a quarterback with limits, and Matthew Stafford got over that hump. He is imperfect. Matthew Stafford at times down the end of the season thwarted the Rams' efforts in the regular season, but came up big in the postseason, and so that's the metric, right, wrong, or indifferent, the majority of people are going to judge him by. Within the body of all of this, there's room to talk about what specifically that quarterback offers you. In Matthew Stafford's case, it was bigger throws downfield and an ability to run different offense. In Russell Wilson, now again, you were brought here to be the quarterback, to lift this team and specifically this offense beyond. We can ignore the fact that the offensive line's not playing as well as it used to. They let Mike Munchak go and walk when this regime change came in. One of the legitimate movers at that position, coaching that position in the NFL. Garrett Bowles is now hurt, but had been regressing before that. You'd seen more holding penalties on the edge of that. All of these other cracks started to show. Tim Patrick injured before the season. You guys mentioned Javonte Williams going down. There's plenty that looks different than what you're sold. But at the end of the day, when we go pass-fail on this, like a lot of the college classes I love taking, Russell Wilson was brought here to be the difference, and so far he's not. And that's just going to be the reality of it.
I mean, he's so much not exactly. Amen. Let the church say amen. He's so much not the difference that we didn't believe Pete Carroll when he said that Geno Smith looked good. We were like, he's like, I don't know. Like, we really we're second guessing. Now Geno Smith is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. Like, when it comes to what a quarterback can offer you on the field and intangibles, I don't know what Russell Wilson brings to the table at this point, other than a great first quarter on Monday Night Football.
Okay.
He's still got a pretty deep ball. Like, Russ can still do some of those things. And Jim brought up the extracurriculars there, but it was for so long us looking and feeling like he was being held back in Seattle, and especially late in that tenure there when it was the war between him and Pete stylistically. And now we look back, and I have to throw my hand up and say, you know what? Maybe I ignored some signs that were starting to show up there towards the end of a quarterback that's just not built to drop back and make things happen the way we saw in Bills Chiefs with both of the aliens.
Okay, well, listen, and I do want to talk about the Eagles here in a second, but Jim, I want to get you on the record here, and I want to get you on the record. If Russell Wilson, so let's define who Russell Wilson is as a quarterback. If you just need to define him, if he wasn't the reason, if he's got a ring, but he's not the reason for the ring, like what is he?
Michael Holley?
Okay,
wait, Look,
could they have done it without him?
Here. No, I respect you too much, and I respect your football acumen too much for you to sit here and tell me that the Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch were not the engine that drove those Seahawks teams to the Super Bowl.
Sure they were. What I'm asking you is, though, that's the engine. But is it so much of an engine that it could have been done with? How far can we go down and still get a Super Bowl champion? All right, Russell Wilson's at a level. Can we go down to, could they have done it with Geno Smith? Could they have done it with Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Teddy Bridgewater? Like, how far do you want to go? That's what I'm saying. Like, define who he is. If he's not the reason for winning the Super Bowls, I'll give you that. Then tell me who he is. And if he's not that great, why did the Broncos give up so much for him?
Well, they gave up so much for him because I think you looked at it in its totality in terms of the Seahawks. His first 8 years, they did not have a losing season or won 10 games or whatever it was. I don't remember what the number is, but there was a lot of success, and he made a lot of splash plays. As Mike talked about earlier, he throws a beautiful deep ball. He made passes. He had the ability to evade, all of those things. But what I'm saying to you now, and look how many coordinators he went through there late in Seattle where there was the friction of, what are we going to do? Are we going to play to Russ's strengths, or are we going to play to what Pete wants to do, which is play defense and run the football? Russell didn't want to do that. He wanted to put up numbers. He wanted to be on this Mount Rushmore with the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Bradys of the world, where he came out and said, I know I'm great. I don't need anyone to tell me I'm great. I know I'm great, right? I'm Mr. Unlimited. Well, he's not. He's a good quarterback. And in certain situations in the past where he had to go off script, he was a really good quarterback. But to all of a sudden now drop him in here and to think that we're not going to look at him and say he has to be the difference maker at the most important position on the field when he is paid the way he is paid, and he came in with the whole let's ride thing and what they were going to do. I'm sorry, Michael.
That is the problem. He is too memeable to be in this spot.
Yes,
he is too memeable in key moments to go out here and fail this way. The one more football thing I'll point out too is Russ, the rushing quarterback, who used to be one of the most efficient runners in the league, was good at taking care of himself. We've saw that decline in recent years, and I think that's affected a lot of the advantages of his game in ways that probably aren't talked about enough.
Let's ride. Who gave him that? Who gave him that advice to just go with that?
Hey, hold up.
Let's ride.
But if the reports are true, last night was the first time he did not end a press conference with that.
Can't do it.
Which should tell you.
You can't ride.
It's true.
You can't ride scoring 16 points. I'm sorry. That's not going to get it done. Let's talk about Philly,
He
though.
did previously.
Yeah, I know he did. And he said, "Go Hawks" and all that stuff.
Even after wearing the lime green suit.
Rah. Yeah. Let's talk about the Eagles. Speaking of green, undefeated team in the league. And Trotter, I'll start with you, and let's go around the room. Just the legitimacy of them. Like, how far can this go? We talking about, best record in the league, and they are also the best team, Super Bowl favorites. How far you want to take it, Trotter, with the Eagles?
I think they can take it as far as they want to take it. Look, this is a well-coached team. It is a deep team. It's built from the inside out, which is one thing I love about it. I think too many people get enamored with the outside, the edges of the game. When Lane Johnson's in there and they're all healthy up front and whatnot, their defensive line, it's so deep, the way that they rotate and keep guys fresh. And then I also want to give love to that secondary with what Denard Wilson has been able to do in terms of having two new starters in that secondary and having that group mesh so well, so quickly, and to fit with what they're doing in the front seven. Look, and I haven't even talked about Jalen Hurts, who so many people had questions about coming into this year. I will just say, to me, they have the ability to go as far as they want to go. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. I know you're going to come at me with that, Michael. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that they have the ability to go as far as they want to go.
let's put it this way, if they stay healthy, they can win the Super Bowl. Absolutely.
But that's every team, right?
Well, but I think especially with them, like you look in that Cowboys game, the turning point in the game was when Lane Johnson and CJ Gardner-Johnson both went out there, and you saw the dynamic change on both sides of the ball. We've seen in the last couple of games, Jordan Mailata's missed time on that offensive line. Jason Kelce went out for a little bit in that last game. Landon Dickerson's been coming back and staying healthy. When they come together like Voltron, that's the best offensive line in football. And when you got a rushing quarterback like Jalen Hurts and then Miles Sanders in that backfield, you can roll people off the ball in a way few teams are going to be able to, one, replicate, and then two, stop, because you've got the old Heisman Trophy winner and Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown in that wide receiver room. Dallas Goedert in there as well. They've got weapons everywhere. And I think as much as anything on the other side, they're healthy again, right? Fletcher Cox playing resurgent football. Brandon Graham back in action. They spent money in the linebacker room in free agency. I would still, like, if we're going to power rank teams, I'd probably still put them behind the Bills and Chiefs, especially after what we saw this weekend, just because Jalen Hurts is very good at quarterback. Looks like he could legitimately be a multi-season answer for them at that spot, but the other two are just different. And the way we see those rosters, for the Bills, certainly loaded roster on both sides, probably the best defense in football, insane offense, and then the Patrick Mahomes experience factor in Kansas City, I'd probably still give them the edge, but this Philly team is built so complete on both sides of the ball. They absolutely are Super Bowl capable.
And one of the things that makes them Super Bowl capable is the fact that the NFC is as weak as it is. And maybe it's not, and maybe they're leading a strong division, but right now all the quarterbacks are in the AFC, so that's where we're enamored with right now. But going back to Jalen Hurts, I mean, he finally has continuity in a program, a guy who's bounced around programs and coordinators for a long time. We had Lane Johnson on our podcast, the GoJo podcast, and he talked about how Jalen Hurts working out with the offensive line during the offseason out in the shed with Lane Johnson and the rest of the offensive line is a big part of it. One of the quotes that I can't get over it because I love football puns and things like that is Jalen Hurts before a game screaming out to the guys saying, playmakers, let's not take the temperature in the room. Let's be the thermometer, right? Like just little quips like that. Like he is a leader amongst men. And to take it to Philly, I say I liken Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts to Mickey and Rocky from the Rocky franchise. Like I feel like Jalen Hurts is just your guy you're going to throw out in front of the camera. He says all the right things. He looks great. He's going to handle the ball well. And then Nick Sirianni's this fiery, spitting off at the mouth, but he makes everything work. And he's a game manager. Like you talk about Michael Holley, you might hate him because he's not calling the plays, but he has the ego enough to set back and just kind of watch this team grow and mature. And I just like the fact that, like you talked about on the D-line, it's the trenches that everyone's really talking about with this team, and it's leading to touchdowns for Jalen Hurts.
Michael, let me say this to you too.
I got no problem with Sirianni though. I got no problems with Sirianni. None.
Let me say this to you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, no, I was talking to Nick. I was talking to Sirianni after the game on Sunday, and I said, one of your staffers had told me prior to the game that you guys are built for this moment. And I said, ask him what he meant by that. He said, look, we've had some games earlier this year where we've kind of squandered some leads and we've had to kind of take control later and come back and do that. And so I asked Nick about that. Nick said, no, I would go even further than that. He said, I would go back to last year. And he said, I think 2-5 speaks to what we have come back from. And he said, being 2-5, you learn that the only thing you can do is come every day and work hard, put in the effort, and try and improve week to week and stack it on top of each game on top of the other. And he really believes that that's where everything turned for the Eagles, what they were able to do last year, and obviously the pieces they brought in this offseason. But he goes back to that 2-5, at least when I was talking to him about where this all started and where this sort of character that this team has in terms of being big enough for the moment comes from.
That was also when they decided, especially at head coach, to start running the ball and making that their primary mode of transportation. So that was a smart move and a humbling move by Nick Sirianni. That showed he was willing to learn, which a lot of young coaches in first-time spots can be pretty proud in that moment.
Yeah, I respect it. I respect it all the way. Before we let Mike and Brandon go, I do want to ask the Notre Dame guys, and this is not a shot, okay? Okay, I'm not taking a shot. I know you think I'm going to take some Notre Dame shot. I'm not. I'm deferring to your experience, big-time college football players. I'm wondering, And we saw Tom Brady, and if we got that video of just going around, Gary, of Tom Brady just yelling at everybody, just yelling at his teammates. I wonder if there was a guy like that at Notre Dame, or were you that guy who would go around and they could yell at you and they could get your attention. So there are two guys, one who could do it and get away with it, and one who tried to do it and you just wanted to smack him down because you're like, man, shut up. Go somewhere. You're not even the guy for it. So give me an example of a guy who could do it and a guy who tried to do it and didn't get away with it. Anybody come to mind? You don't have to name names if you don't want to, but if you do, go ahead.
I got one that popped in my head right now. Mo Crum. He is the co-defensive coordinator at Ole Miss right now. He was our team captain when we first got to Notre Dame. He showed us what it was really like to be. He's one of those guys that had all the tearful rage in his face when we're down at halftime. We was like, oh shit, like we gotta go with this dude.
Yeah, he was definitely the one, I would say. And he didn't have to yell, though. That's the difference. When he spoke, everyone just stopped. You listen. That guy was one of the best leaders I've ever been around. So him being at the helm for a group of young men is the place that he belongs right now. An exceptional leader. I would say the other side of that, though, is I had coaches who could get up and could definitely like raise the voice. Harry Hiestand, who's the O-line coach at Notre Dame right now, one of the best men I've ever been around. He's a guy that's been in the NFL, had 2 different stints with the Bears, and had some really successful offensive lines there. That's a hard guy to play for because he is going to grind you. But when you know where it comes from, and with Tom Brady, that might be the difference this year because it seems like it's been a little more than we've been used to. And everyone's probably looking around going, what is this guy so angry about right now? Like, I understand things aren't going well, but this is a little different than usual. When you know the place it comes from and you know a person's invested in you, then you listen to what's said, not how it's said. Then it's just, all right, that's your mode of communication. We know where your heart's in on this one, and we love and appreciate that, and we can all go out and do the damn thing now.
But the offensive line is sitting there like, oh, why are you yelling at us? We covered this in the walkthrough that you weren't at because you were with your old boss, Bob Kraft. You need to chill out a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about Tom. We talked about this yesterday. Remember? Oh, you don't. Oh, you don't remember. You weren't here. But hey, appreciate you guys. And by the way, Mike, Brandon used to do that here. And that's why we had to move on. You know, he really used to just like yell at people all the time and just try to, beat people down.
I figured as much, man. He's a grinder. He'll flip that switch. He seems like the nicest guy in the world, but there's a quiet rage inside of Brandon Newman. I think I think it's the recent years of being a Lakers fan that have finally gotten to him.
Oh. Woo. All right, good. Drop it. Drop it. The mic. Oh, you dropped.
Good job, Mike.
I love it.
Thanks for having us.
All right, thank you, fellas.
Appreciate
Good
you
to
guys.
see you. Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.